Hi, everybody, and I'm so glad to be back. My name is Katie, or as my students call me, Miss Katie, and I work with international schools and virtually with children who are having difficulties reading or dyslexia. And one thing a lot of parents have talked to me about, and a lot recently, is the concern that their child may have dyslexia, or maybe they're concerned, does my child have dyslexia, or because of COVID and frequent moves that they just have gaps in their basic skills. So today I wanted to share with you 10 ways, 10 signs that you can look for as a parent to know if your child has dyslexia. And what I want to communicate is I'm not really concerned about the label. What I am concerned about is that your child gets the kind of support and instruction that they need if you're seeing these signs. Because if you're seeing these signs in your child's reading and spelling, then it's really important that your child gets a certain type of instruction to support their needs. And here we go. Here are my 10 tips or 10 signs actually that you can look for as a parent. Okay, so let's look at reading first. Okay, if you notice that your child consistently substitutes really visually similar looking words in their reading, and the big word here is consistently. So instead of saying stop, they might say spot while they're reading, or instead of saying horse, they might say house. And this is pretty consistent, and your child isn't going back and self-correcting and saying, oh no, that's supposed to be house, not horse. Okay, so tip number one, or sign number one, is if your child is consistently substituting visually similar looking words. Okay, sign number two is if your child omits letters as they're reading words. So if the word is best and your child says bet. Okay, tip or sign number three is instead of sounding out words, your child is guessing at words, or maybe they don't even know how to sound out a word. And that's okay, because a lot of international schools, they don't teach children how to sound out words. It's more based on context and meaning. And what children who have dyslexia really need is explicit instruction on how sounds and letters go together to sound out words. So if your child guesses a lot of times at words instead of being able to sound them out. Okay, I can't remember which tip I'm in, so I'm gonna look at my paper. Okay, tip number four then is skipping over lines or words while reading. And sign number five in their reading is if your child is just exhausted by reading or really just avoids reading altogether. That behavior is telling us something. Okay, all right, so those are the signs in reading, and I will include these all in the notes underneath as well. Okay, signs in spelling, and this is a lot of times where we can see children are needing more support. Okay, the first is that they're confusing the order of the letters in their spelling. They may omit letters in their spelling or add in extra letters in their spelling. Another huge sign is if children can't read back what they've written, and a lot of times that really impacts their confidence. So I wanted to give you these signs today as a parent, so you can be looking for these signs in your children. And the most important thing is if you're seeing these signs in your child, either in their reading or your spelling, that you're advocating for your child with your child's teacher, saying, these are the signs that I'm seeing in their reading and their spelling. Can you make sure that you're providing more direct instruction for my child in how letters and sounds, phonics, work for my child, because that's the type of instruction that they need. And I wanted to tell you that a lot of teachers are really caring, but they don't have this knowledge because in America, especially, and Australia, there's been a move away from this type of instruction. But what the science is showing us is that children learn to read in certain ways. So, and especially children who struggle with reading, they need this direct, explicit instruction in order to be able to read effectively and fluently. And I'll just add one last thing in here. And I know this is a rather long video, but I'm also saying this not just as an educator of 17 years, but also as a parent. And as a parent whose child moved really frequently, and my child had really strong oral vocabulary, really strong background knowledge, and used context a lot as she reads, which has supported her up until now, which is 6th grade. And as the context is less familiar, and as she isn't able to use some of the strategies, she's really struggling. So I'm advocating for you to get support now for your child, so that they can build the skills that they need to be an effective and fluent reader and speller. Because it not only affects your child's academic success, but also their well-being. So my ways you can get support right now for your child: download my 5 tips that gives you strategies and resources to use at home today. Communicate your concerns with your child's teacher, and reach out to me. Schedule a 15-minute listening ear call where we can create a plan to support your child. And I will see you in our next Learning to Flourish video, which won't happen next week, but the following week. And I look forward to seeing you then. Thanks. Bye.